Hi, everybody. Welcome to Eating Peace this week. In our Eating Peace experience group, which is just such a deep immersion, for 3 months we stay very closely together. There's really almost daily contact if you want it. You don't have to be there every day with a group. It's amazing that we can do such amazing things together online, get so connected. And then we relax on the daily contact, and then we come back together again. But the reason I'm even mentioning it is what we do in that group really inspires what I think to speak about here. People bring their questions and concerns and thoughts about food and eating and body image. And it struck me today the sense that we have of the list. So there's rules and regulations. When we think about diets and what we are supposed to be doing, there's a lot of rules and regulations, right? Endless. Eat this, don't eat that. Feel this, don't feel that. Be like this, don't be like that. Have this body shape, don't have that one. Almost as if there's a constant eye looking at you. I think of that big eye in the Lord of the Rings. There's a huge eye on a tower that's like looking around the land. It's almost as if there's something in you that's watching every single move you make. And even if you have relaxed yourself and know that diets don't work, or said, well, I'm being very accepting of my body, I'm not going to judge my body image, you might still have an attitude of right or wrong when it comes to your eating. It's very tricky to relax with that and understand even how to just sit with like having that eye that one that is looking with a judgmental eye at you as you reach for some kind of food that may previously have been on the do not eat list. And now it's sort of like a be careful, be careful. So of course that comes and that arises with our whole perspective about food and eating. I need to watch out. I need to be careful. It's very interesting because we're watching that there is an assumption that there's something dangerous going on here when it comes to food or eating. My contact with this thing called food has been very difficult. I have proof, right? And you do. I have misery as the proof. I mean, just miserable. Life or death. I was in a hospital because of my condition with food and eating long ago now, but really when I look at it and I look back, I see it's because of what I was believing and thinking at the time. But still, even if you don't have that kind of extreme behavior, the way it's showing up is kind of like third degree burn, not just a little sunburn. Even if you have a little sunburn, with your attitude around food and eating, like, oh, I need to be careful. The way people joke, boy, don't keep that in my house because otherwise it'll be gone instantly. I mean, you're kind of saying, I have no control. I'm not existing. We're against having a heavy body. Just against. It's like a big no. And just see what it's like when you believe, I have to be careful. I need to watch out. I have all kinds of proof that this relationship with eating and food hasn't worked out very well. It's complicated, right? In the relationship status, we're not happily married. No. It's very complicated. We've broken up. We've gotten back together. And really, in many ways, this experience of relationship is like the experience about life. Some days are good. Some days are bad. Some days I'm in turmoil and I feel really traumatized and like something terrible has happened. This is why when we think about the work of Byron Katie, where if we work on our anxiety and the things that have scared us most in life, they aren't necessarily just our experience with food and eating, it's other traumatic experiences or other things we think we need to worry about. I need to worry about that. It happened once before, it was dreadful, and now I need to worry about it. So what an incredibly powerful thing to turn our attention to what has frightened us. And I know in some ways the mind will say, where do I begin? there's so much to be scared about. There's mean people, there's upsetting situations, there's loss, there's disease. That seems to be happening right now in the world. There's this coronavirus at the time of this recording. um, just to sit and look. And some of us will say, some of the strategy for working with things that are scary are don't think about it, don't think about it. Don't think about it, don't think about it. That'd be nice if it worked. Does that work with food or eating? When we have like, don't think about it, don't think about it. It kind of almost makes it bigger. It makes the fear kind of tuck away inside a closet, and but we know it's there, and gets a little bit bigger. So if we step right out, open the closet door, take a look, and see that thing, that energy called fear, disappointment, rage, terror, any level of it, but just looking at fear. It's like what our relationship with food and eating has been like, really what our relationship has been like with life. Just see the similarities, looking into the past, watching the images, and we can just see, I need to be careful not to be afraid. I need to worry about being afraid. I need to worry about food. I need to worry about what's going to happen. Is that true? Look at that amazing question. Is that true? Yes, it's true. I need to worry about it. I need to prepare. I need to get ready. And help. Oh my God. I don't know. Can you absolutely know that that's true, that you do need to worry about it? Can you know that worrying is going to help in some way? Can you know that worrying is going to help with our relationship with food or eating? Is it going to help? Is it going to help calm us down? Is it going to help us with the next meal? Is it going to help us with what happens next time? Is it going to help with prevention of an overeat or a binge or taking bites of that food we think are wrong? It's just watching the mind so easily categorize things as right or wrong. There's a good way to have this go, and there's a bad way to have us go. There's good foods and there's bad foods. There's good feelings and there's bad feelings. At a sort of initial level, you could say, well, that seems to be true. Human mind looks at life and there's a duality. There's day and there's night. There's life and there's death. But just watching the level of noticing what happens when we become believers, put it that way, like just think when we think the thought and we sort of latch onto it. I need to worry about that. I need to worry about it. What happens when you believe it? Even if you're not sure whether you need to worry about it or not, let's say you can't find the answer for sure. Sometimes I like noticing, can I absolutely know that it's true? My answer is probably no, if I am not sure. If I have to commit to a yes or no, well, no. Can't absolutely know it's true. I need to worry about this. All right. What happens when I believe it? I need to worry about it. Look at all the evidence from the past. I see images of all the failures, all the difficulties, all the diets I went on that I blew pretty quickly, all the binge eating that I've done in the past. I used to, one time I had sitting with this same internal work, I sat with the thought, I ruined my 20s. I lost my 20s, my entire decade to this eating disorder. Amazing to sit and question, can I absolutely know that's true? And I found no, because they existed still and there were happy times. But just noticing how you react when you believe you do have to worry. It's very cautious. We're very careful. It's either walking on eggshells like that, like as if you had a relationship with a crazy person, you didn't know what they were going to do next, but you're terrified because you're not sure what they're going to do next, right? Just noticing caution and suspicion. Because you can be excited about what could happen next and not know. Like a fun surprise, something interesting going on, right? Could be a different quality of experience of anticipation. So just noticing when I think I have to worry about it and I have all this dread and the experience in the body, is, oh no, like be careful. Oh, it's either hopeless or vigilant. And you notice here comes the food, the meal comes out, and you're like, don't forget to be careful, right? There's that troubling thing called food, which I'm supposed to even take in into this world. And but I need to be very careful. I need to watch out because a mistake can be made in any bite, in any thought. Just watch how delicate that is and how difficult it is to just feel free and spontaneous. So, who would you be without that story? Who would you be without the thought, I do need to worry about what's happening? I need to worry about what's going on with food or eating. I need to worry about my feelings. I need to worry about fear. I need to not think about it, not think about it, don't think about it. I know I'm smiling and I know it feels very serious when it's happening. And believe me, I've been there, so I understand. But who would you be without the story? Who would you be without that thought? You have to worry about food. You have to worry about eating. You have to worry about what's going to happen in 5 minutes, in 1 hour, tomorrow. Who would you be right now? This is not poking your head in the sand. Some people will say, well, that doesn't make any sense because then you're like an ostrich putting your head in the sand and, like hiding in the closet yourself. So it's not about denial. We're actually turning our attention toward the thing that we feel concerned and upset about. Let's look right at it. Who would you be without the thought? What's it like? What's the energy like between what I think of as me over here and that thing that's happening in the world, or this food, eating, my body, the reflection in the mirror that looks like that? Who would I be without the thought, I have to worry about that? Kind of amazing, right? Like, what? Definitely, we don't know. It's not as if it's completely clear. But have you ever had something, many things, something happen and you were surprised, and before you could start thinking about it, you were just responding, and it's just the thing that happened? For example, this very morning, I happened to be working with somebody, and it was a phone solo session, not using the computer, face to face, like I do a lot of the time, especially with groups. So on the phone, sitting on my couch. I had just happened to move slightly off my couch to shift positions. And the shades, the blinds that are on my big picture window, suddenly dropped. The whole entire thing. Those are pretty heavy. And they fell on my hand, and my hand was cut and bleeding. Didn't not that serious of a thing. Kind of a bit of blood because it's on the like sort of bony section of the thumb. And excuse my little show you all my band-aids. But before I had any thought about it, I was just whoosh, kind of like responding in the moment, ending up, whoa, guess what? I'm going to have to call you back. And I was even able to say, yeah, I gotta do a little first aid. Get the band-aids, look at them, notice, didn't hurt that much, just watching, responding. Then some images come in. Does it need stitches? I don't think so. No, it's stopping. It looks like it's going to be okay. That's a lot of blood. That's dark blood. Watching the mind have to say what it has to say. And then it all kind of, this wave of movement happened, and then it was over. Now, none of us would say, yay, so happy my hand got cut. Not after, unless you sit and do the work. Like, could there be any advantages? Could there be anything interesting? Maybe even the experience of mentioning it here is somehow useful because something feels all as well. Just there's zero nervousness about it. It's not serious. And noticing that something just responded as needed, like we're thirsty, we go get a glass of water. Who would we be without the story accompanying it? Oh my God, it's an emergency. Oh no, I need to, like, all of that seems to have future images of how bad it's going to get. If we just are wondering who we are without the thought, it's going to get worse. And I know it for sure. You could make an argument for that, but who would you be without knowing? Just sitting and without knowing and still engaged right here with it. Like as far as it goes with food and eating, knowing I am going to continue to eat as long as I have a body. Who would I be without the thought? I need to do something about that, change something about that, like that's a bad experience. What if it was a good relationship going all the way to the turnarounds? What if this was something to learn from? What if the turnaround, I need to worry about my thinking? What if that's really the only thing I primarily need to worry about is my thinking and not just becoming a full on believer of in all the things to be afraid about? What if that's my job is to question my thoughts and just be with what is? What if saying no to all that food and eating and everything that's ever happened, like this relationship with food or eating, no, no, no. What if instead it's a yes, yes, yes? Everything is okay. All is well. This is turning out great. I have a good relationship with food or eating. I've made it through it so far, despite my thoughts. It might be where you begin. But could it be that this is something I'm really committed to learning how to find peace with? What if I really want to find eating peace and I'm dedicated to that and it's possible for me to find it? Because it is. How could any of us be born with the missing piece, pun intended, around food and eating? We're not. We're born fully capable of working with that, of making this a good relationship. I know I can. And yes, it might take work, but I don't have to worry about that. Full blown turnaround. I do not have to worry about that. Finding examples of how that could be true. I actually have to not worry about that. I have to not worry about that. And it doesn't mean putting head in the sand. It's a turning attention towards it. We're not putting it in the closet to hide, but I have to not worry about this. Study it, investigate, be with it, find some understanding. Could it be this relationship with food and eating is a path of learning unconditional love, unconditional positive regard for yourself, the experience of having a body on planet Earth, and consuming parts of reality called food, taking it in all the way fully, becoming one with it. That's what eating is. Learning how to have peace with that, total and complete peace with that. Wouldn't that be the most magnificent thing to know that's occurred in your lifetime? It can be a spiritual experience, whatever we're calling spiritual, but how beautiful. I'd have to not worry about that and discover whatever it takes to get there. And I love using the work, the inquiry of the work of Byron Katie, because it makes it simple to sit with, see what my thoughts are, and take them through the process, just like we've done right now. So only have to worry about my thinking because it gets very dramatic, very terrified. It produces terror and fear and contention and worry and war. We're at war with what's happened, at war with what is, instead of at peace with what is. Can I begin to find examples of what is peaceful? Even as simple as when the blinds fell this morning, it was like a split second and it was over. Kind of an interesting burst of surprise that happened. The room is very quiet. Gravity still exists. I come on and still get to be with you all today. And noticing the peace of the moment. Nothing happened to the couch at all. It was amazing. Or the computer that was sitting there. It like just missed the computer. It was underneath, tucked away. Who knows? Who knows? Interesting the way these things unfold. So could that be the same as any meal, any kind of food that exists out there, not needing to shake our fists at it or shake the fist at who made it or be worried, be upset, feel fear. It's relaxing with what is food in all its form and knowing I am here to sometimes have the experience of eating. I'm not supposed to be here and never eat. So kind of exciting to see where this goes in all things. All right. Lots of love, everybody. Take care.